Firing a hole yet?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, firing a hole.
Firing hole.
My name is Gus Paris. I'm from Rosiclare, Illinois. Rosiclare. It's about 125 miles south of Owensboro on the Ohio River. I was born and raised in that little mining town. It's a fluorspar mining town, not coal. Most people think it's coal mining, but it's fluorspar. My father was a miner, worked there, and I did too in the mines prior to the war for about 6 months. I enlisted in the Marine Corps shortly after the outbreak of World War II. I was in a movie theater watching the movie with a girl in 1941 when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, and they interrupted the movie and came out on stage and announced that they had bombed Pearl Harbor. I didn't even know where Pearl Harbor was, much less it had been bombed. So I went home, and a few days later I enlisted in the Marine Corps. I went to boot camp, and I was sworn in Chicago. I was enlisted in Centralia, Illinois. I was sworn in Chicago, Illinois, and I went to San Diego, California in boot camp. After boot camp in 1942, I went to radio school and then went overseas immediately. I spent my 18th birthday overseas throwing hand grenades. Japanese on Guadalcanal. First one I ever threw, they threw back at me, so I learned how to throw them.
That's a hell of a way to spend a birthday.
Yeah, it is. Not a very good day to spend a birthday, no. And I was overseas about 9 months and got hurt, and hurt legs, and then I came home. And went to the hospital in Long Beach, California, and then across the country to Great Lakes Naval Hospital, and then to North Carolina, and then to Omaha, Nebraska to school, and back to California, and back overseas with the 5th Amtrak Battalion, amphibious tanks, amphibious tractors. And from that group we went to Saipan, Tinian, and then Iwo Jima. Saipan and Tinian were in 1944. I spent Christmas on Saipan. An interesting story there, you'd be really interested. They loaded all the mail bags on a small boat to come off the ship, and the boat sunk. And the ship and all the mail bags with Christmas presents in it went to the bottom of the ocean. The Navy divers went down and got all the mail sacks and brought them up, and the cookies had salt, but they were good. We ate them anyway. So everything was soaked, water soaked. We were at Saipan and Tinian in 1944, and then we got ready and went to Iwo Jima, the worst battle in the Marine Corps history, probably. Marine Corps is notorious for fighting long battles, short battles, and invading islands, and that's what we did best. We took things ashore with our amphibious tractors. We could take 15 men and all their equipment, or we could take all kinds of ammunition, all kinds of stuff. So we supplied the troops with this stuff. Everything was difficult in the Pacific. No water, no this, no that, no nothing. No food mostly. We ran out of food one time, and we had Japanese food we captured from the enemy. It was a fish with nothing but the heads, because the body was poisonous. And they canned the heads, and the heads were quite good. I don't eat fish much. I never eat rice, because all the rice had worms in it. I asked my doctor, I said, well, how about these worms in this? And he said, they're good protein, eat them. So we cooked them and ate them, just like everything else.
Oh my gosh.
All this was before I was 21 years old. What a glorious youth I had.
Oh my gosh.
So now let's look at the Battle of Iwo Jima, which is probably the worst of the war, was the worst battle I was ever in. 70,000 Marines took away an island from about 25,000 Japanese. Probably the island had at that time had no vegetation on it, no trees, no grass, no nothing. It's just sand, volcanic ash. They were dug in, and we had to dig them out. They didn't come out, we had to go in after them, and caves and holes in the ground. It was 36 days, as they said, the 36 days of living hell. And it was. No sleep, no eat, no water, no nothing. It was tough. But we survived it. Some of us did anyway. Some of us did. I buried an awful lot of good guys up there. I lost men right and left. And you as you would. And I've never forgotten them after all these years. I'm 89 years old this next month, September.
Well, happy early birthday. Wow.
I spent my 18th, 19th, and 20th birthday, and even my 21st one in the service. So, we have 29 months overseas, and lots of fun, lots of headaches, lots of heartaches, I guess you should say. We left Iwo Jima, went to Maui and Hawaii to get ready for the invasion of Japan, and they sent me home. My job was to come home, and I was going to be. I turned down a field commission because I had to take a transfer back to the infantry, and I'd been in the infantry and got hurt in the infantry, and I didn't want to go back to the Walkman. Wanted to ride. I'd like to ride, and I was in the tanks. So I said no. He said, well, will you go home and go to officer candidate school? I said yes, because I'd like to go home. So I came home in 1944. I got home on August 1st, 17 days before the war ended. I was home with my mother and dad when the war ended in 1945, August of 1945, after they dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. College students always used to ask me, what did I think about the atomic bomb? I'll tell you the same thing I used to say to the Air Force. Where were you guys with that thing last year when I needed you badly? No, sure, you drop it. Mm-hmm. War is hell. It's not something funny. It's not something good. It's not something decent. You're out there to get somebody, and when you get them, it's time to any way you can, because that's what they're going to do to you. So war is hell. It is a nightmare. I hope I hope you never see one. I don't want to see one. I don't want to see one here in this country. So it is a terrible thing. The Japanese soldier was a good soldier. He was tough. He was small, but he was trained well. He could fight. His only problem was he had no responsibility.
What do you mean?
Well, the fact that you mean that the fact that he could not do anything on his own. If the guy was ordering him got killed, he didn't know what to do. I delivered a load of ammunition one time up to an outfit, and I said, "Where's the company commander? He has to okay this." He said, "Right over there." I looked over, and we were at that time we were wearing numbers to denote rank, and I looked at that number, and it was a corporal. The company commander's a captain. I don't want a corporal, I want a captain. He was the only commander. He was the only one left alive.
I guess he had to approve it.
Yeah, so he approved it, and he signed for it. But see, the Americans could step up, step in, step over. See, because I commanded men just like a lieutenant, but I was not. I was a sergeant. So this is what you learn to do. See, is to take over when you have to. And I got in trouble several times doing that, of course. One of the most interesting happened here, right connected with Owensboro, which you might be interested in.
Oh yeah.
In 1969. Kentucky Wesleyan put in it, where I was working at the time, put in my office a watch line. And for the first 4 or 5 days they put the watch line in, they couldn't trace the calls because they didn't have it hooked up right or wrong or something. I don't know what it was. Anyway, I was sitting there and I got to thinking about something. So I called Washington, D.C. and asked to speak to the Commandant of the Marine Corps, a general by the name of Leonard F. Chapman. And I got our major, of course. I got the general's office, but I didn't get him. He said, "What do you want to talk to the general about?" I said, "I want to talk to him." He said, "Well, I tell him to call me." He said, "Who are you?" And I said, "Just tell him the donut man from Iwo Jima wants to talk to him." In about 5 minutes, my office, the phone rang. It was General Chapman on the phone. He said, "I've never forgotten you. What are you doing? What can I do for you?" I said, "I'm calling to collect." He said, "I knew you would someday." Okay, how did that happen?
Tell me about the donut man.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got an order for a load of stuff, ammunition if you want to know for sure, up to his artillery. He was an observer with an artillery battalion. So I was taking it up there to him. And on the way up there I passed some guy out there cooking donuts of all things. He had about 12 dozen on donuts. I said, "How many you got?" He said, 12 dozen. I said, "How much?" He said, "You can't buy them. There's not enough money in the world for you to buy these things." I said, "I don't want to buy them." He said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to swap you." He said, "What are you going to swap?" I said, "A .45 pistol." He said, "You got a deal." Well, the reason for that was the rule on Iwo Jima was you had to go armed and loaded with the safety on your weapon. You had to carry a rifle, if nothing else. And here this guy was out here with a rifle strapped on himself when he was trying to cook. You want a pistol with a belt? So I said, I'll give you a pistol for half those donuts, 6 dozen. He said, okay, you got a deal. So I got 6 dozen donuts. So now I'll take all the stuff on up to the artillery outfit. This colonel came out, okay, he said, you got any donuts? Well, do I smell donuts? I said, well, I couldn't lie to him because they were sitting right there. I said, yes, sir. He said, how many you got? I said, 6 dozen. He said, 1 and a half. I said, no. He said, go take them. He was a colonel and I was a sergeant. I couldn't say anything. I said, okay. He said, I'll pay you someday. I said, I'll collect someday. Well, he went on to become a general and became the commandant of the Marine Corps in '69. I called him. I said, he said, what can I do for you? And I said, I want you to come to Owensboro and make a speech. It's Kentucky Western. He said, I will. He said, you give my major 4 or 5 dates that you can come, that I can come and to suit you, and I'll try to get on one of them and I'll come. So he picked a date and it fit me, and he came in, and my president at Westland said to me, he said, now Gus, we don't have a lot of money for this thing. I said, oh, we just had a little private dinner. I had 45 people at a private dinner for just me and him.
Wow. All for donuts.
Oh, yeah, all for donuts. So when I got to the office the next morning, the day after this happened, my girls were waiting on me. I said, get in that office and get by that phone right quick. I said, what's the matter? I said, well, first place, the FBI is called. Naval Intelligence is called. The Admiral in Chicago is called. The Admiral in New Orleans is called. The General over in St. Louis is called. The Colonel over in Louisville is called. The General over in Evansville is called. They all want to come to this SEAM, you know, to meet him and come. And the FBI wants to know who you are and why you're doing this. What do you know? Said, get in there and get on the phone. Well, it's Army Intelligence, you know, so it's everything but Social Security, I guess, called. So it was one of those things that it just happened to you. He did come, by the way. Evansville Reserve Unit came over and did the honors to meet him at the airport here in Owensboro. He was here about 6 hours. He made a speech. I took him over to my house and introduced him to my mother, my wife, and my son. John was a little boy then. He's an old man now, like me. And he gave John a watch chain, and he still has it with his name on it, and with the general's name on it. So John still has that. And so he came and made a speech on Vietnam and what the Marines were trying to do in Vietnam. And then he went back to Washington that same night. He was just here about 6 hours, from about 4 in the afternoon to about 10 at night. And in that time we had a dinner. Well, what happened at the dinner? How did the president even asked me, he said, how did you end up with 45 people at this dinner? Well, this guy called me and says, I'm dying. I'm a World War II Marine, I'm dying. I want to be there one last time, wear my uniform. Sure, come. One guy said, I want to be sworn in again, I'm going to re-enlist. I want him to do it. Can I come? Sure, come. Another guy said, I knew him, I served in his unit, can I come? Yeah, come on. So I had 45 people there for dinner.
Wow.
But the interesting part about all this was the crew of the plane that flew the general in from Washington. Of all the things we did, I forgot about them. I didn't know where to. Here they are, and somebody's got to feed them. This is supper time. So I said, hey, come on over to the cafeteria at Kentucky West, we'll give you something to eat. And the guy said, no, go into Gabe's.
So Gabe's?
The restaurant.
Wow.
Gabe's restaurant was already in Washington, D.C., known in Washington, D.C. by these guys in 1969, see.
Do you know about what time in '69 this happened?
Yeah, it was in the fall of the year, I think, so I remember.
But I was just thinking about looking this up and
Havens rolled in with him and rolled him back out there to his plane. And we talked, and walked from the campus over to my house. I lived across the street at that time, Kentucky Wesleyan. I don't own that house now, but I did then. And we walked over there, and we talked all the way over there and all the way back. And we talked that night. Yeah, quite an interesting story. He left when he retired from the Marine Corps. He became the immigration man in charge, and then now he's deceased now, of course, like most all people are in that group. But it was an interesting story.
That's a great story.
Yeah, it's a great one. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the general very much. So.
Well, he had a warm welcome.
Yeah, oh yeah, we had a warm welcome for him. That was a good thing. But that all because of the donut. And the donuts really weren't that good, about that big, you know, a little about the size of a $50 then, a small one.
They probably tasted really good to the
Yeah.
general at that time.
Tasted
yeah.
good to anybody got
Oh yeah.
them. When?
Oh well, I just kind of wanted to back up a little. You enlisted,
Yeah.
correct? You were not drafted.
No, I did not draft. Marine Corps at that time did not take draftees. They did later in the war, but they did not then. So I
Okay.
enlisted.
So could you tell us a little about boot camp? What you went through, what it was like?
Well, the first place you were homesick.
Mm-hmm.
The first place you didn't, no candy, no food, no nothing. The training was tough.
Mm-hmm.
Long force marches, rifle range, learning, training. Reveille was at 5 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 4:30, sometimes when the sergeant was mad at you, it could be 4 o'clock. You just wherever you wanted to go, and you were trained that way for about, boot camp had been reduced to 6 weeks then. They were short men, they needed men overseas quickly. So we did that. As I say, I never did boot camp. I never learned. We never taught us anything about grenades. We didn't know anything about grenades. When I got overseas, the first time I threw one, it came back at me, as I told you a moment ago.
Yeah.
That'll make you move.
Oh yeah.
The old sergeant hollered at me and said, "Do you know how to throw a grenade?" And I said, "No, I don't." He said, "Well, get over here and I'll show you blankly blank, 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 blank." So I went over there and he showed me how to blow the thing, blankly blank, blank, blank. The language was not very clean.
Oh no, I wouldn't think so. They use that to get their point across.
Yeah. A funny story about that. Not long ago, this year, I guess maybe 6, 8 months ago, I had a call from an old buddy who's still alive, like me, and he called me a dirty name. And he had his phone on a speakerphone. Apparently he can't hear, and neither can his wife. He had a speakerphone, and she could hear and she could talk on, and he'd come over. I could hear her the same like I could hear him. And she said, "You ought not talk to him that way." She said, "You ought to heard what he called me several times back years ago." And I said, "Let it go, let it go, let it go." So it was one of those kind of things that the language is different, life is different, everything is different. So when the war ended, the time was you could decide what you're going to do. So I thought, well, I was going to stay in the Marine Corps. So when I was down in the Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and where they sent me instead of I was supposed to go to Quantico, and they sent me to get the plan was for me to go to Washington and go to the Officer Candidate School, and then look at the plans for invasion of Japan and get back to my outfit to help, because we were on the beach before anybody else to invade Japan. And so in other words, I took it because I'd come home, and of course I did not want to go back to the infantry, because the life in the infantry for a lieutenant is about 30 seconds or less, not very long.
Right.
And I'd seen too much of that, so I didn't want to go to the infantry. Anyway, we got a telegram that said go to the recruiting office in Birmingham, Alabama. Report to the recruiting officer at Birmingham, Alabama. I got down there and he said, "Well, you have to take a group of men to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, where you're going to go to Officer Candidate School now." So I did. He said he got 105 men, and between now on this train, between now and Wilmington, North Carolina, when you get off the train, you have to call the roll 3 times and certify that you've called it 3 times. I did. I did all that, but I never had more than 85 men, and one of the 3 times I called. When I got to Wilmington, North Carolina, I had 105. I said, "Where the hell have you guys been?" They said, "Well, you don't really want to know." I said, "No, I don't. Don't you tell me where you've been. I don't want to know. I don't know where they were." But they all were there when we started at 105. When I ended, I had 105. I don't know where they were in between. Where they were on that train, I'll tell you that. I was looking for them all the time. So then I thought, well, I'll go ahead and stay in the Marine Corps. So they said, "Well, if you stay in the Marine Corps, you have to go take a physical." So I want to take a physical. The doctor said, "I'll pass you if you want to stay, but I advise you to get out." "Have you been to college?" No, I had not been to college. He said, "Well, I'll tell you what will happen. He said this will about 4 or 5 years down the line, they'll have a big economy drive, and everybody that hadn't been to college, they'll throw out of the Corps, they'll dismiss, and you'll lose everything. And that's exactly what happened to my father after World War I. He was a Marine. He had a field commission of a lieutenant, and he's going to stay in the Marine Corps. But in 1920, they had a big economy drive, and they threw him out of service. So he lost all his benefits. You know, there was nothing there for him. So he said, yeah, I would, the Navy officers, Navy doctor told me, he said, I'd suggest you get out, go to college, and if you graduate from college, then if you want to come back to the Marine Corps, then you can go through officer candidate school in that way. So I was calling my dad and said, he said, well, I think that's what you ought to do. So I did. Well, while I was in graduate school, I just finished my master's degree in 1950, 49 rather, and Korea broke out. So I went over to St. Louis, volunteered to go back in the courts to help train Marines for Korea. They said, well, come back in a week, we'll get your medical records and we'll look at them. So I went back in a week and he said, no. The doctor said, go home, you're through. You can't do it anymore. Too much. So that's it, the end of that. End of the story.
Well, no. So when they told you no, what was your plan? What did you do after that?
Well, I went on back to school. Went on to graduate school again.
Okay.
And then I when I ran out of money, I got a job at Kentucky West End.
So they were looking for teachers.
Yeah, they were moving to college. I moved
Right.
to college from Winchester to Owensboro. Helped me with it.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And your boss, the original boss, Mr. Hager, was one of the prime movers of that whole system, you know.
Right.
So, so I came to Owensboro, and that's where I met my wife.
And how long were you all married?
61 years yesterday, Sunday.
Wow, that's wonderful.
No, it's not. It's 61 years. Did you ever think it might be with the wrong woman?
I usually don't ask that question.
Circling like a good married woman. Isn't she a good married woman? Okay. No, I was just kidding, of course. No, we've been married 61 years. She's a wonderful person. She was a piano teacher at West End, and I moved in as a history professor. We started courting, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then we married in '52 and moved to Owensboro. We were already here, so we were married here in Owensboro, or married from Owensboro. We didn't marry here. We married up at her home in Indiana.
Wow. That's wonderful. Children.
4.
4 children.
I have 3 girls and a boy. John Paris is the president of Atlas at Mid-Tech, Texas, Dallas.
I should talk to him about my gas bill.
Yeah. You know what he'll tell you?
He'll say, pay
Shut
it.
up, shut up and pay it.
So I'll be saying, I know your daddy. I need
Yeah.
a discount.
He's had that done before too.
I bet.
And I have 3 daughters.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is here today, passing. She's taking her daughter to Dartmouth. Her daughter's going to Dartmouth College up in New Hampshire
Oh my word.
on a full scholarship.
That's impressive.
Yeah, she's a graduate of high school in North Carolina, which is she was the honor graduate, the valedictorian of the class.
Wow.
She's going there up to Dartmouth on a full scholarship for Dartmouth College. Where my executive officer, or one of my captains was a graduate of Dartmouth. He said it's a good school, and I said it's a junkie school. And she got tickled. Go ahead with your questions now.
Oh, well, some of them are a little, kind of backtracking.
Sure.
What was it like on your first trip overseas?
What was life like?
Yeah, what was the...
31 days on a ship from here to the Solomon Islands, actually not the Solomon Islands, because it goes up there to New Caledonia, New Hebrides, Australia, New Zealand. I was in a hospital in New Zealand, Australia, both.
So from San Diego, you went to New Caledonia on
No,
the ship?
I went to New Zealand first.
Oh.
And did some training there, and then went from there up to Guadalcanal, and then back to Australia to the hospital, over to the hospital.
Do you know what kind of boat you were on? I've heard some people say they were on luxury liners. And
Yeah, the first one I went over on was an old banana boat from South America.
Mm-hmm.
That was I see the bunks were about 10 or 12 high,
Mm-hmm.
and no ventilation in the hold at all,
Oh,
except
wow.
the door you went in and the door you went out.
Oh,
You know,
that's hot.
stinks all the time too. 1,500 guys down in that hole too.
Yeah, that would be stinky.
Yeah, it would be.
Mm-hmm.
Was. It was a tough 31 days
Mm-hmm.
on the ship. And then from there, I've been on every kind of ship you can think of, I guess, in the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
The LST over at Evansville, is you're familiar with that one? Okay, I went off those things several times. That's what we had. We were on those, went off those in the combat. See, well, the last reunion we had, my outfit, we had it here in Owensboro in 2005, and I took them to Evansville to that LST. It was pouring down rain that day, and we got up there on that open deck, and it was pouring down rain. This guy was standing there in a wheelchair, sitting there in a wheelchair with an umbrella. He's soaking wet with rain, and he said, "Hey Gus, I'm getting wet." I said, "How many times did we go off of LSD?" He said, 3. I said, "Did you ever go off one dry?" He said, "No." I said, "Well, shut up and come on then." He laughed, and that was the truth. You know, you're always wet on LSD.
Did you like that better than the banana boat?
Oh yeah, LSD was smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it was flat bottom, so it meant it hit the bottom. Seasick. Bing, bing, bing.
Mm.
And when you're seasick, boy, you wish you could die. The only time I ever wanted to commit suicide, I think, was when I was seasick. But
Yeah, I have been seasick once. It wasn't pleasant.
no, it's not. This is like having an upset stomach all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, no, it's not very pleasant. But the guys would look at me and laugh.
Mm-hmm.
See, I can go aboard ship and for the first 3 days. He could be tied to the dock when I'm seasick. I'm telling you, I'm sick. After 3 days, I've got my sea legs, they call it. And it don't bother me. So after we get out in the ocean and they hit a storm, then they get sick. So then I go down and get a load of, see, we had beans and cornbread for breakfast every Wednesday and Sunday on board most ships. Not all, but most of them. So I go down and get a big pot full of beans and for a piece of cornbread for breakfast, if you can imagine that. Now to make you stick now. Take it up there and say, "I brought you guys something to eat. I thought you might be hungry." They'd be, "Oh," you hear them way down the line vomiting, see.
That's kind of mean.
Oh, it was meant to be.
Did you all play a lot of pranks?
Oh yeah, always, yeah. See, when a girl wrote to a guy overseas and said, "I'm through. I met old Fred. We're going to get married. You know, I'm in love. You knew him, and I knew him, and I love him so." Then what could you do to help this guy get over this? It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
What we do, one of the things we did, we'd go around to everybody we knew and say, "Give us an old picture of a girl or an aunt or a grandma or somebody." So everybody had tons of pictures.
Mm-hmm.
We get pictures, put them all in a box, send them to Mary Lou back home and say, "Mary Lou, I got your letter about getting married, and I wish you all the happiness in the world. So I forgot what you look like. Will you pick out your picture and send the rest of them back?" I like them apples. That's pretty good, huh?
That's really good.
That's a good story, isn't it?
It's
called a Dear John letter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You probably wrote several of them. No.
No.
She probably did.
Heartbreaker.
Yeah, heartbreaker, right.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing you got is, see, mail was censored.
Right.
Coming and going.
Mm-hmm.
So that you had to be careful what you say. You couldn't say anything. So everybody devised some kind of scheme with Mom, so that the family would know where you were.
Right.
Well, I was on the island of Saipan. The battle was about 2/3 over. Still some fighting going on. So I wrote about a 25-page letter to my folks, which was not uncommon. And in there I mentioned 2 things. One is, did you get the pans I mailed Christmas? And how was Uncle Saipan? My father wrote back and said, no, we didn't get the pants. Did you have them insured? And who the hell is Uncle Si? I never tried any more after that.
Did you have a sweetheart or a girl you dated during
Oh
this
yeah,
time?
oh yeah, yeah.
She didn't send you a letter, did she?
No. But most romances, it was here, it's gone once you leave. You know, you're gone, you're over there. See, we were overseas 20. Well, I was over total 29 months, about 2.5 years. But it was divided up into 20 months and 9 months. See, but the only way you could get to come home in the Marine Corps in World War II is if you was hurt.
And you got hurt.
Yeah, I got hurt the first time, then the second time I came home to go to school. See? Something like that you could get home, but you couldn't. You did. There was no 1 year over there and come home, you know, or anything. No time limit. One of the great stories in my outfit was when I was a sergeant, I had a guy crawl over me in there in a shelling. We were getting shelled pretty good. He said, "Hey, Sarge, my enlistment's up today, and I'm not going to re-enlist." I said, "Well, see that hole over there?" I said, "That's the sergeant major's hole. He's got to approve it. He said, crawl over and tell him you're up, your enlistment's up, and you're going home." I said, "I'll go with you down to the beach to catch a boat," which was a lie. Of course, there was no boat, no beach. If he crawled over, and I thought the sergeant major was going to kill him before he got away from over there. Because they had a thing called COG, Convenience of the Government. So if your enlistment was up, you went COG until the war was over, see? So everybody was in there for the duration of the war, not for any period of time. And if your enlistment was up, you could re-enlist if you wanted to, but if you didn't want to, you went COG. You just changed your record to COG instead of enlistment, see?
I think that guy would have been SOL if his enlistment was up and he's in the middle of the battle. Not much you can do about that.
Yeah, well, you couldn't let him go home either.
Yeah.
Had no way to go home. He wouldn't go. You couldn't afford to lose him either way. See? So you had to do. They had to do something like that. See?
Right.
Well, it was an interesting aspect of it that you went. Your system changed, but you didn't have anything to say about it. You couldn't alter it. See?
Right.
The Marine Corps who went into battle was wounded, one way or another. Most of it got flying shrapnel, and that's what got me. It was flying shrapnel all the way around. I got hit in the face, and the chest, and the legs.
Where were you at?
Saipan, first time. On the first time I got hurt was in Guadalcanal. I got hit in a training accident, really, more than anything else. It wasn't a battle. The battle was going on, but I was not involved in that. And then I got infected with bad infection, malaria, and all those diseases go with it. That's one of the things that the Pacific you had to fight was the disease. So the white man or the Americans, see, we were not integrated in that day and time. The Marine Corps was not. And I had no blacks in my outfit. I had no Mexicans or Spanish or anything like that. They're all white Depression kids. Everybody in there. Oh, we had some that were partial, you know, but really not much of anything. And that was the way it was until Truman integrated it in 1948, I think, when they integrated the armed forces. But you had to deal with disease mostly, and we weren't used to anything. So malaria was coming. We had no quinine. You had to take Aspirin, and you turned yellow with Aspirin. So nobody wanted to take Aspirin because you go home, you'd be yellow, your skin would be yellow. Your girl wouldn't want that, or your mother wouldn't want that, or something. So what a guy to do, take the pill and not take it, throw it away, or flush it, or kick it, or drop it on the ground, or spit it out, or whatever.
Oh gosh.
So what you had to do is, you had a corpsman, throw it in your mouth. You open your mouth, boy, throw it in there. Then the guy would hold it behind his tongue and then spit it out. Well, then he used to turn around and somebody had to whop you on the back. And well, you had to do that, you swallow a pill. So you could turn yellow that way, see? So that was very common. And then all kinds of mimic dysenteries. Of course, we had snakes and little animals and all that kind of stuff in the jungle. One of the finest jokes they ever got on me was, if you want to joke on me, was the fact that when I came in off of patrol one time, And the guys were cooking. I said, what are you cooking? I said, stew, get some, it's good. So I got some, it wasn't bad. Wasn't bad at all. I said, what kind of meat's in there? They said, rabbit. I said, okay. Sit there and I ain't rabbit on these island over here. Monkey skin laying over here. Skin the monkey. And nobody eating any of that stew. They want to see. I said, what were you guys doing? They said, well, we're going to see if you drop dead. Well, then we wouldn't eat any. But if it was all right, you'd be alive, well, we'd eat some. So now we can eat. Come on, fellas, get some. Can you imagine that?
I don't think I want to eat monkey soup.
No, I didn't either.
Oh. Did you all ever rescue any prisoners of war?
No. We never had any prisoners. We did have one. I'll take that back. We did have one because we got picked up this wounded Jap. And all of a sudden he spoke English, pretty good English. His girlfriend was a telephone operator in Tokyo. And he couldn't go home. He said, I've run my wife, my wife to be's family reputation. I can never marry her. She'll never marry me. My mother and father can never accept me because I surrendered, or I got caught. And we kept telling him that, well, the war would be over. Someday he'd get to go home, and someday Mary Lou would be there, and he could marry her and all that kind of stuff. I don't know what ever happened to him, but we used him. We worked him there for a while, and then they came and got him and took him away. We had one guy in our outfit that looked a little bit like a Japanese, not very much, but some. And he was dirty and filthy. He did look like one. And the MPs picked him up one time and they were going to shoot him. Lou and I talked about this a long time one time. I kind of rescued him one time. I said, no, don't shoot him. I need him back here. But he was a good guy. He was up in Michigan and lived up there. Still, maybe, no, he's dead, I guess, now, but he's still alive. But or maybe, I don't know. Anyhow, it's a very interesting kind of person.
Did you ever worry about yourself being taken hostage or being a prisoner of war?
We took no prisoners and gave none. We didn't try to take any. I counted them at Iwo. 25,000 Japanese up there, and they said there was several hundred, but I went down and counted them. There was 21 when I saw them in the stack. Now, they was Japanese. There's some more Koreans up there, but no, very few prisoners were taken. Everybody, Marines. We didn't take prisoners. Had to feed them and guard them if you did that. You don't want to do that. Too much time. No food anyway. We don't give them. I wasn't going to give them my food. Water was a bad thing. You had to be careful with your water too, because getting water was just coming in as bean. It came into being during the war. So we had to wait till they got the water distillation plants set up so we could get water, and then they could get water right out of the ocean and make it into good drinking water.
How long did that take?
Oh, just going through a process of the machines.
No, I mean, how long did it take to set up the plants?
Oh, well, you couldn't do that till the war. Battle was almost over because you didn't want to get that equipment destroyed, see.
Right.
Yeah. So if you set it up very fast, the Japanese would shoot it down, see. You had to be careful what you're doing.
Do you have any LST stories that stand out, since we're kind of ending this with our tour at LST? We're just kind of wondering if you had a standout LST. Well,
the LSTs were usually manned by sailors, Navy personnel. Who one of the best one I was ever on was a Coast Guard LST. Run by, there were no rated people on there. Every man on there was out of prison, except the officers. The officers were not. All enlisted men were just out released from prison on minor charges, and if they did serve well, then they could get released from their charges. So you get it off the record and go back to duty and get some rank. But there were everything was a striker. There were no gunner's mates, no bosun's mates on there to speak of. They were acting bosun mates, acting gunner's mate, and all that kind of stuff, but no. It was a good ship. It was run very good. The smaller the ship, the better it was run. Usually, it's better. Well, of course, that's natural.
Right.
Natural that you can do better with 10 men than you can with 40 men. You know. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just trying to recount, at the end of the war, you were wounded, right? Did you tell about the second time you got wounded?
Same thing that happened in Iwo.
Iwo.
Yeah, just shrapnel.
So what hospital did you go to? Did you go?
None.
None.
No, they went down there, but they cut it out.
Where was the shrapnel at?
Well, chest, legs.
So they just cut it out then and there?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
See, unless you were handicapped, you know, they didn't send you anywhere.
Okay.
If they sent you somewhere, you was either dead or dying or going to.
And then you went home after that?
Oh, yeah. Well, the war ended. When we left Iwo, we went back to Maui to get ready for the invasion of Japan. And then when the invasion of Japan was dropped because of the atomic bomb, then the unit went on to Japan as an army of occupation, see. But I was not in the unit then.
How did you feel about the atomic bomb?
I wish they'd dropped it sooner. I got home sooner.
Right.
I have no feeling one way or the other about it. It's something that has to be done.
Right.
If you understand that war is terrible, and war shouldn't be fought anyway, but if you're going to fight one, elimination of the enemy is what the purpose of it is. Okay, any way you can. What difference does it make whether you shoot him or hit him in the head with a rock or a bat or something? It's just one of those things that happens. So I have no regrets about the atomic bomb at all. Somebody asked me one time. I've had students at Kentucky Western who were home in Hiroshima when. In fact, the mayor of Nagasaki was a Wesleyan graduate, by the way. He did not happen to be in Nagasaki, I think, at the time. He told me. I did talk with him after that. Wow. He was here in Owensboro, came to see Wesleyan one time. I think he graduated in 1922 or 24, somewhere around in there, 25, I don't remember when. And he came back when he was an old man, and he was dying, and he wanted to see it Wesleyan one more time. And he came back here, and he told me that he didn't have any regrets about it. There's nothing he could do about it anyway. But he was up in the country visiting a sick sister or sick relative of some kind when the atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki.
He was lucky.
Yeah.
Wow. I know this is kind of off the topic, but you've said that students have asked you kind of dumb questions over the years about the war. Would you mind telling me maybe what some of them are besides how many you killed?
Well, they always want to know how often did you get to take a bath?
Seriously, they ask that?
Oh yeah. Students ask anything. Well, it depends on where you were. If you're in the jungle, well, you took one pretty often if you could. I've been as much as 5 and 6 weeks without one.
Wow.
I delivered a baby one time without a bath.
You delivered a baby?
Yeah, 3 of us did.
Wow.
We found a pregnant woman, a native woman in Saipan. She was in labor. And I said to my 3 guys, 2 of them, I said, we got a choice. We either deliver her or we're going to kill her, one of the 2. And they said no. So we had a radio. Our doctor was a pediatrician in civilian life. So we called the doc on the phone and said, well, we got a baby coming up here. We need some help. He said, you got a knife? I said, yeah, I got a K-bar. He said, is it clean? I said, yeah, wipe it off on the pants. He said, how long you had the pants? I said, about 2 weeks or 3. He said, you got a cigarette lighter? I said, yeah. He said, light it up and heat the blade. So we did. We delivered the baby.
I bet that woman was scared to death.
She was, because she couldn't speak any English. And I couldn't speak Chamorro. So when my 3rd child was born at Mercy Hospital here in Owensboro, my son, I said to my doctor, Dr. Jack Keeley, I said, Dr. Keeley, if I had this was when the father sat out here in the waiting room all, you know, and he came and got you after all over with, and she's all in the back of the room cleaned up and eating breakfast or whatever. I said, if I had a gown, I'd go back there with you. He said, I'll get you one if you'll go. I said, oh no, I already done that. No. He said, what? Tell me about it. So I told him about that.
What did he think?
He said, oh, yeah. Well, the doctor told me later, he said, you need some practice on cutting the cords. He said, you didn't do a very good job tying the knot, cutting the cord. I said, no, we didn't. But we did it right. We did what he was directing us on the radio, so we got her back, got him back there. And so we wrote a letter, one of the guys and I did, after the war was over years later, to the governor of the Marianas and asked him if he could know anything about this. And he said no, that it had happened several times, and they didn't have any idea where the child was or the mother, or whether they were all right or still alive or what. So, and then one of the things that someday you may want to look at is the son of one of the people living here in Owensboro now was the head of a brewery department on Saipan, and he married a native girl over there, made a native girl of some kind, and lived over there for maybe I think he's retired, not there now. I think he's back in this country, but she's with him too. And we got in touch with them through him, through their father here in Owensboro, and talked about all this kind of stuff. And she knew about some of that stuff. So it's a long way around. We took several trips. Several of my guys have been back over there. I did not go. I turned down the trip. I did not want to go. Don't want to go. Won't go. But no desire to go back to Iwo Jima or Saipan or Tinian or anywhere else like that anymore. I don't want to go. But some people do, and some people make those trips. See, so and they looked around over there. Of course, one of the bigger things they had was the Amelia Earhart was supposedly, at least one of the Native women over there said they saw her killed on Saipan. Well, they don't know if that's true or not, but that's one of the rumors about Amelia Earhart, that she was picked up by the Japanese and then executed on Saipan.
Wow,
By Japanese soldiers. Yeah, it's been in the papers and all that stuff. So, but that stuff goes on all the time and during a war, see, so you don't know.
Are there things that you would tell your World War II that, say you were looking at your textbook and you'd be like, oh, that's not true, this is what really happened? Is there a lot of...
Oh, yeah, well, that's always true in any war, see. Mm-hmm. Yeah. For instance, I did not know this till they told me. In some of our reunions that we had, we started our reunions in 1980 and ran them to 2005 and quit because we couldn't get, the guys got too old to come. And some lieutenant had always had to okay your censorships. They put his initials on everything. Well, they had to do each other's letters. Well, one guy didn't like to write to his wife very much. He just didn't want to. He's lazy, I guess, or had no reasons to do. So he would write something, and then take a pair of scissors and cut it out, and then mail it. And so it said, "Dear Mary Lou, love Fred," down here at the bottom. That's all be in the letter. See, because the censor has the right to cut out anything in the letter he wants to. See.
Right.
So we would laugh about all that kind of stuff, but we would do that all the time. Something you write to some girl and say, "Darling, y'all should have seen what happened to me the other day there," and then we'd cut it all out from there on because we didn't want to write anything that day.
I guess whatever mood you were in was what letter was sent.
Yeah, yeah. So you would do that. It would be a joke, and also it would be funny too, and there's nothing dumb about it. But censorship is a terrible thing because somebody may cut something out that's important,
Right.
Yeah. Now, my good friend had he was engaged to a girl, and she wrote him a Dear John letter. So, I met John. He was in the Air Force, and we're getting married. And I hope you'll wish me luck, and I love you. I'll think of you always, and don't forget me as a good friend. That kind of stuff. So I went out for him and got a water buffalo. What a water buffalo is? A great big old, looked like an ox, filthy, dirty old animal.
Mm-hmm.
Put her name on the side of it with paint. Madeline. Took a picture of it. So we didn't have any cameras because they wouldn't let us have film. We had no pictures, nothing like that. But we could use Japanese stuff if we found it. So we'd find it and use it. Then we have to take it over to the Air Force and get them to develop the film because we couldn't have any way to develop the film. So here was a picture of this water buffalo with her name on it and mailed it to her. Well, and that was the end of it. Make a long story short, we went home, the war ended, and he and her got back together and married and had a family of 5 or 6 or 7, I think, kids. and lived happily ever after. He's now deceased, and so is she, I think, or she's in a nursing home. But anyway, she said to me, "You're the one. You took that picture." I said, "What picture?" She said, "The picture of that water buffalo with my name on it." I said, "No, it wasn't me. It wasn't you. My husband told me it's you." And I said, "No, he's lying. He's always," she said, "Well, he's good at that. I know that." I said, "Well, that wasn't me. I wouldn't ever do anything like that. No." So here, she hung that picture on the wall in her house for a long time, he said.
Wow. Wow.
So, you know, things like that were always going on, something like that. Give you a more humorous aspect of war.
Hey, we'll take it, right?
Yeah.
We'll take it. Question, because I think I could spend all afternoon asking you about, you know, your school experience. What do you want to tell future generations about the war?
A lot of sacrifice made.
Yeah.
By men dying, by women who worked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it was a time of trying to do everything with nothing, really. For instance, when I got out of the hospital the first time, I was on crutches out in Long Beach, California, brand new naval hospital. And my sister lived in Berlin, New Mexico then. I was going to ride a bus to Berlin and then later stay 4 or 5 days and visit with her, because I had 37 days off. And then come on east to my home in Illinois. Well, I couldn't get on a bus, I couldn't get on a train. There were no planes, of course. There were no travel permitted on planes.
Mm-hmm.
So I finally got on a bus, but I had standing room only. I was on crutches. So I stood all the way from Long Beach to New Mexico.
Oh, that's terrible.
It was 24 hours. Got off, went down there and visited him with my sister and her husband. And I'll tell you a funny story about that. I was down there with her, and I didn't have any money.
Mm-hmm.
And my records hadn't caught up with me, so I couldn't get any pay. So I borrowed $100 from my brother-in-law, her husband, who had it. And my sister said, "What do you want to do with that money?" I didn't know what to say, and I wanted to get her to shut up about it. So I said, "I'm going to buy a Pat a ring." Well, the first thing she did was call my mother back in Illinois and say, "You know what he's doing? He's going to buy Pat a ring." So the first thing my mother said when I got off the train at home was, "Who's Pat? Where does she live? Who is she? What's she do? What's her mother do? What's her father do?" No. "Who's Pat? I don't know him, Pat." "You gonna buy Pat a ring?" "Oh, God, no. But anyway, that was a family joke. So it all. Anyway, I got down there to New Mexico, and when I got ready to leave New Mexico, I'm on east now. I went down and get on a train, couldn't get on, full. Everybody going from the West Coast back east, everybody coming east on the troop train. Going over to the bus stations, no buses, full, coming through. How am I going to get home? I stand there, an old Air Force man standing around there, and he said, "Come out to the Air Force, we'll get you a ride on a plane going east." Well, you went out to the airport, air post out there. It was a bombardier training school, and you signed up. All right. They did not know what was coming or what was going. But when the plane came, it came down. Then you could talk to the pilot. If he was going your direction and you wanted to go, and he would take you, then you had to go get a parachute for $1. Get on the plane, go where he was going, get off, turn the parachute in, get your $1 back. So he said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going east anyway." He said, "Well, come on." Went out there. So I went, the next morning they had a plane come in. They said, "Yes, you can get on this plane if the pilot will take you." So we went out to talk to the pilot. I said, "Yeah, I can take 2, 3, 4 guys." So I was one of those going to get on the plane. So about that time, another Air Force lieutenant popped up, captain popped up and said, "Well, how many days you have to leave?" And I said, "I have 32 left." Yeah, I had 30 days leave, but I put it on 37, and I got 37 with the dates. I skimmed them out of 7 days in 1942, 43, I guess. Anyway, he said, "I got 2 boys that got to get to Chicago because their mother's dying, and it had been verified by the Red Cross. if you'll give your seat up to them, I'll get you on the next plane if that's the last thing I do. And I said, okay. But I said, I don't have any place to stay tonight. I don't have any food. And he said, well, we can take care of that. So we'll give you a bed and fix you a steak. I said, that's good. I'll stay. So I gave up my place. So the next morning I got out on the plane with two colonels. Found a two-seater. I got in the back seat with another guy. The two colonels up front. Well, we got one problem. He said, we're going to stop at Olathe, Kansas to inspect an airfield. We're going to have to be there overnight. Well, that's okay. We don't care. He was on emergency leave because his mother was sick, or dying rather, or had died, I don't know what. So we just sat down in Olathe, Kansas. We went in there, and now the colonel looked at me and he said, now when we sign in at the hotel, you just put your name and put U.S. Air Force on, Air Corps on it, Army Air Corps on there, and we'll pay for it. Same thing in the dining room. So I got a free meal and a free night's lodging on the U.S. Air Corps, and I was a member of the Marine Corps.
Nice.
In 1942. So he said, and then he said, the next day we got on the plane, he said, where are you going anyway? And I said, well, I live in Southern Illinois. He said, what's the closest Air Force base? I said, Scott Air Force Base in East St. Louis. He said, we'll drop you off there. So they dropped me off there, and I turned my chute in and got my dollar back. Free ride. Standing there, a guy come by in the Jeep and said, what are you doing here, Marine? He said, we haven't seen Marines around here anymore. I said, I'm going home. He said, well, where are you going? I said, well, I'm going to hitchhike down to Southern Illinois. He said, well, come on, I'll take you out here to the road. Of course, there was no four-lane highways in those days. Mm-hmm. There's a big shade tree right down this road here, and I'll take you down there and let you out. You can hitchhike from out another shade tree. It was hot, August. So I did. The guy came by and said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Rosicler, Illinois. He said, well, I'm going to Harrisburg. So I got to Harrisburg with him, and I got a salesman going from Harrisburg down to Rosicler. The guy took me to my front door, let me out. I got home in 2 days from Kansas. My dad said, where in the hell have you been? I said, don't ask me. You don't hear it. So what you do, you zigzag all over the place, you know. I mean, guys being in California want to go to Florida. The guy was going to go to Oregon. Well, hell, he'd go up to Oregon and see the plane going to Florida quicker than one going out of California to Florida, see. Mm-hmm. So you took your chances like that, see. You do that.
Were you and your dad able to bond over your war experiences, since he was a soldier and you had been a soldier, and you all kind of, well, not been through the same thing, but been through that kind of experience?
Let me correct you on one thing. My dad was not a soldier. He was a Marine. I was a Marine. We were not soldiers. We were Marines.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's understandable.
Well,
yes.
You know,
I understand what you're saying. Yes, we were. We always could bond. My father and I could bond. We had an understanding all the way on. Because when I was growing up, if you didn't behave, you got whopped. Good. Switched, builded, or what have you. See?
I just asked that because a lot of men who are in World War II have a hard time talking about it. So I didn't know if your dad ever talked to you about his wartime.
he would talk to me, but not in front of Mother.
Okay.
You know, when I came home one time, an interesting story about that. I came home one time from college, and my mother said, "Sit down in there. I want to talk to you." She had me a postcard, and it said, "Dear Gus, when are you coming back to me? Love, Lolita, Veracruz, Mexico." It's postmarked Veracruz, Mexico. She said, "Well, is that yours?" "No, ma'am. The old man was going to Veracruz in 1913, not me. I didn't go to Veracruz. Never. The old man was, you talked to Dad about that." Of course, it was a joke, of course, all you will imagine. So one of my dad's engineering friends did that to him. Went to Veracruz in that car, see. And, so that's the kind of thing that went on all the time. But one of the serious things, I wrote a paper on this one time. You'd be interested in being a college student at one time, I guess, called The Brown Box. My father was in the Army of Occupation in Germany in 1921 in Cologne. And while there, he dated a girl named Rose. Her last name I do not know. Rosemary was her first name. And there was a picture in his lockbox at home. We didn't go to banks in those days. We went home. Everybody had a little lockbox at home. Kept the deed and his discharge and all that. There's a picture with a girl in the garden, working in the garden. That was Rosemary. Well, every time he'd get that box out, we'd look at that picture, and me and my sister and brothers would laugh about it. Dad's girlfriend from way back there. And so, my wife there. And in 1945, 46, I guess it was, my mother got a letter from Rosemary, my dad, and said, we have nothing. Our son was killed in the war. He was in the German army. And her husband was a professor of music at the University of Cologne. The university was destroyed, no job, no money, no food, no clothes, no nothing. Can you send us something? Mm-hmm. My mother took a brown box and fixed it. Sugar, flour, meal, junk, food, clothes, stuff, and did that every year until about 1954 or 5 when got a card back from the mailman in Germany. He said, deceased. Wow. So my mother fed her her husband's ex-girlfriend's family. Her and her husband sent them flour and sugar and stuff like that.
That's a sweet thing.
You know, my mother was a generous person like that. but when something happened, she'd say, "What'd you do?" And I said, "I didn't do anything. That's the old man. Don't blame me for that. You know, that's him. That's not me. He was in Mexico. Don't get on me about Veracruz. I've never been to Veracruz. No." So that was a family story like that. That was funny. I enjoyed it.
Well, we've really enjoyed listening to all your stories. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll suggest to you, I don't know, do you know Mark Mosley?
Yeah, I just saw him down in the lobby.
Oh, now Mark was wounded in Europe.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, he's one you might want to call and get on this.
Oh, well, I see him in the library a lot.
Yeah, uh-huh.
He's such a nice man.
Well, he can't hear. That's one of the problems. She can't hear. She can't hear either. He'd be a good one for you to get on this. He ran a wwII store years ago down there.
That's what Ted Smith was telling me.
Mostly in Coonsey.
Mm-hmm.
And so on. And then there's I told you, I think Fred Ward. Did you ever run down Fred Ward?
I know. He's in the nursing home
yes.
over there on Litchfield Road. But
yeah.
I haven't been able to. I need to just go over there, I guess, and pop in because I don't think he has a phone in there. Mm-hmm.
His daughter lives up. I don't know her name even, but she lives up in 18th Street up there in that housing project. You know. That's his daughter who lives up there. But Fred, I carried Fred's unit in at Iwo Jima.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
See, he got wounded up at Iwo pretty bad. And then, how about Jimmy Coombs? Did you?
I called him, and I think he told me no.
Yeah. Jimmy was in a paratroopers, and of course, Marine paratroopers never jumped to combat. They went in as infantry. You get all that training, and you jump, and they pay you, then you go in as an infantry. So, and we were, if this is your battle, if this is Isle of Iwo Jima, we were at the only thing on my right was the caves. I was the last thing on the right on the whole front line of the invasion. Mm-hmm. I was on Blue 2 Beach, they call it, and I took Fred Ward's unit in here, and then he went from there on up, and we stood, we were the pivot of all 3 divisions, 3 Marine divisions. 70,000 men pivoted on my battalion and went up that stretch of land to the end.
Well, I'm going to ask a dumb question.
Sure.
You know, they always talk about the flag being raised at Iwo Jima.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know anybody? Did you know any of the gentlemen who raised the flag?
No.
Or
There's 70,000 Marines there, plus about 25,000 sailors on all kinds of ships around there. See, we got all our fire support came from naval ships up till we got artillery ashore. Mm-hmm. Once your artillery ashore, then the artillery picked it up too, but they just added to it. See.
Right.
So it's like somebody said, one lady said, my son was out in the Pacific. Did you know him? You know, you on a train or a bus. Somebody would say that to you. Well, no way in the world you'd know him.
There's too many of you.
Yeah. There were 16 million men in the armed forces in World War II. And so there's no way in the world you could know, you just pick out a name. See? Like John L. Kirkpatrick here in Northwood, Kirkpatrick's daddy was shot down over Europe and captured, was a POW for a couple of years in German prison camp. Well, on his birthday, one of those years, in the camp, the guys wanted to make him a cake. They didn't have any flour, so they used toothpaste flour. Well, of course, he went up and then went down real fast. And it was a big joke. Well, it was a joke now and a joke then, but it wasn't very funny too, but they were trying to do something for him, and it is funny. And of course, he had a problem with the bottle too after the war. He drank all the time. God, it was terrible. I knew him real well. He was a good friend of mine. He'd say, "When the hell are you going to buy a Toyota?" And I said, "The same damn day you buy a damn old Volkswagen." Don't put that on the tape.
Oh gosh.
And then Colonel Hawes, who was a former mayor of Wentworth, lost his leg over in Europe. And he was a good friend of mine too. And he'd go to Washington D.C. get treatment for his leg. It was off. His leg would get hurt so bad, and it wasn't there.
That's
what they call phantom pain.
Right.
Yeah. You don't know how lucky you are, honey, that you haven't got some of those problems.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. See?
Do you know most of the veterans here in Owensboro?
No, I know some, but I don't know most of them. I don't know. There's not many of them left. Not many World War II veterans left, combat veterans left.
Well, over the weekend we were talking to Dr. Parks.
Yeah.
And
Rick Park?
Yeah, Pete Parks. And Drew Howard.
Yeah, Rick Park.
I don't know Rick, but Dr. Parks is a dentist.
Oh no, this is he's a X-ray man. This in Paducah, one left hospital here. You're talking about a Dr. Parks dentist. Okay.
Yes.
I'm talking about a dentist is a Dr. M.D.
Oh, okay. And Bill Kegel.
Yeah, I know Bill.
Well, there are some of y'all still around.
Well, a few, not many. See, I'll be 89 next month.
You're a youngin' in the bunch. Mr. Howard, who we talked to, he's a
90 something.
95, 96.
Yeah.
Just incredible.
Well, your mind doesn't go bad, but your thinking, you can't get it in sequence. You can't get out what you want to say. You know what you want to say, but you can't say it. It's that simple.
I have those problems myself.
Yeah, but see, yours is a matter of pushing facts.
Right.
And you push them out too far. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you've been one of the most interesting interviews we've done, so hope we haven't worn you out.
Oh no, you don't wear me out. I'll wear you out. My wife said, "What the hell were you doing?"